We're talking about if this team has bridged the gap with the Philadelphia Eagles. And one of the guys they brought in, and one of the things, too, that I think is interesting here is when you look at the conglomerate of the trades that they've made, I think most people feel good about the 3 big trades they've made since they've taken over. I think people generally liked the Lattimore deal when it was done. Maybe they feel differently now. I think people like the Tunsil deal, and I think people like the Deebo deal. I think the interesting part now is maybe you wish you had some more picks if you wanted to go after Trey Hendrickson. Beside the point, I don't want to get into the Trey Hendrickson discussion right now.
It don't matter. Look, F them picks.
You got to build something long-term here.
You only got so much time with Jaden on this rookie contract is how I would look.
But we're in year 2. We're not in year 4. You're in year 2. I think you gotta be smart with this. You got to try to build something long-term. But when you look at Deebo, what are your expectations for him? Because I think some people have sky high. I know you have sky high expectations.
You know what I'm about to say.
I do not. I do not.
If you got some money out there, I don't tell people how to spend their money. I don't tell people how to gamble because when I do gamble and do my little $5 CVS receipt parlays, I normally don't win. But if you got a little extra cash and you can get Deebo Samuel Offensive Player of the Year odds, lock it in.
No.
Lock it in.
To me, that's a waste of money.
Maybe he doesn't win the award, so to speak.
He won't.
For you to, I think he is going to make. I think he'll lead the team in touchdowns this year.
Okay, how many are we talking here?
Double digit.
So I just don't see him
running and receiving.
I think he's going to be a good player for this team. I don't question that at all. But his last 3 seasons in yards from scrimmage, he went 864 in 22, 1117 in 23, and last year 806. Where do you think he ends up? Like, what kind of stat line are you looking at that you're saying he could potentially be in that discussion?
I think he has about close to 900 yards receiving.
Okay.
And I think he gets 450 to 500 yards rushing.
So you think 1,400 yards?
I think he has a 2021 type of season. Yeah, I think he's got the ability to have that type of year.
So in that season, he went 1,400 yards through the air. So you're saying a little bit less than that. And he had 365 yards on the ground. And some of this, too, is those receiving yards can be either rushing yards because they're all going to be screens, a lot of the screens and stuff. I think he has last year's season. And is it worth a 5th-round pick? Sure. Is it worth the price tag? Probably not. I think he has last year's season.
You think he runs for 136 yards?
Absolutely.
Come on. In this offense, behind this offensive line, there's no chance. He will be the feature. He will be the feature guy on offense. I think
Terry's still that guy.
Terry wasn't the feature guy last year and still led the team in receiving.
Who was the feature guy?
I don't think there was a feature guy. So think about the gripes we had about him and the lack of targets.
Yeah, I mean, that's valid. I honestly think
How many double-digit catch games did Terry have last year?
I think he's going to be fine. I just don't see Deebo Samuel being the difference maker that some people think he's going to be.
Yeah, I feel like you're a little asleep at the wheel when it comes to.
I don't. He's
to Deebo.
He had 800 yards last year. I think they'd be happy if you got 800 yards this year.
He was playing with Brock Purdy.
I understand that.
Think about
here's
the
the
added
problem
value in the run game with him when you've got a mobile quarterback.
How can he have, to me, how is he going to have 1,500 yards like you're saying when I don't particularly think he's good past 5 yards past the line of scrimmage?
Huh?
I don't think he's good against zone. He's not a man beater.
He's a football player.
He's
and when
a good
the ball gets
player.
in his hands, people would need to watch out. That's how I look at it.
Maybe I'm biased because I like this guy, but if we're talking guys that are going to run down the field and do some stuff, give me Jalen Lane.
Can Jalen Lane get off press coverage?
Give me Luke McCaffrey.
Can Luke McCaffrey beat out Noah Brown?
In terms of true wide receivers, guys that are going to go down the field, I think he's going to be nice in that role of catching screens. Do I think he can get 1,500 yards catching screen passes?
The Commandante, whatever the hell you
Commandante.
Commandante Tequila actually said something worth reading. How do we win all our games? We shared the ball and passed it all around. Like, that's last year who they were.
Absolutely.
It didn't feel so to answer your question, I didn't think there was a feature guy last year.
And that's fine. I don't think that
I know for a fact Cliff has wanted a Deebo in his offense forever. I think they're gonna have packages on packages. I stand firm in this. You could take this to the bank. He will lead the team in touchdowns, and it will be double digit. He may have close to 20. He may have close to 20 touchdowns next year.
That very well may be the case. I just don't see a world and where he is impactful as some people are talking about, because I don't see him as a good wide receiver past 5 yards down past the line of scrimmage. I think he's going to catch a lot of balls short, and he's going to be good at setting up blocks. He's not going to go for 1,500 yards doing that. I think that's the one thing that they're still lacking is a true number 2 wide receiver. I hope Luke can step into that. I hope Jalen Lane can step into that.
I think there's one guy.
Maybe Noah Brown can step into that.
I think there's one guy in the receiver room that I am going to root for hard, and I have an inkling that he will be a lot more involved than maybe we're giving credit for. I think Michael Gallup has something in the tank.
Well,
Michael Gallup
thinks that.
Michael Gallup throughout his career has been a better football player than Noah Brown. So if he's healthy and his mind's in the right spot, he is a more physically gifted guy. He's a better football player. Will he play like it? I don't know.
I have a hard time thinking that he's going to come back and make a huge impact. I think this offense to me is still a weapon short. I don't think it's going to be an issue because the offensive line is better, and so it's going to step up. I think Terry's going to have a great year because you've helped out. You're going to make people scoot up a little bit because of the way that you brought in a Deebo Samuel. I think he's going to have a big impact. I'm not trying to say he's not going to, but I think his impact is going to be felt more with other players than in turn just with Deebo going for 1,500 yards. I don't see it. I think he goes for 800 yards from scrimmage again, like he did last year, and I'm fine with that. I think he's worth the 5th-round pick. I don't think he's worth the contract.
For you to think he's only going to get 136 rushing yards, that's tough.
Okay, then fine. You take some of those, give some of those rushing yards, and take away some of the receiving yards.
I just think he's a better fit in the offense than you're giving it credit for, it feels like. I really do feel like he is going to be the focal point.
I don't think he's as explosive.
How can you say that, though? That my thing with this about...
What do you mean, how can I say that?
Last year
he had 1,700 yards in 21, and the last 2 of the last 3 years, he's gone under 1,000 total yards.
Byproduct of the offense. Brandon Ayuk has emerged.
That offense does stuff where they get him the ball in similar ways to what we're going to do here, too.
Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle have emerged as pass-catching threats in the offense. Christian McCaffrey has come there and taken some of the load off of him. So I think it's a lack. Why do you think he wanted out of San Fran? He wasn't getting the touches. The usage was not there. Again, I think with the usage he's going to have here, he is going to be a problem.
He's going to be a good player.
I think he will be the most. Book it. And this is no slight to Terry McLaurin. I think Terry's great. I think they complement each other perfectly. Deebo Samuel will be the most explosive player on this offense this year.